no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for wherever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers. Came in arrogant, but left out in a stretcher. The comparison, y'all know y'all couldn't replicate it. Chilling in the desert, I'm good under pressure. Stick around with me, hold it down, look at what we found.
Welcome to the official podcast of PHP Architect. Join us to listen to the latest news and tech talk from our conferences, the magazine, and wider PHP community.
As the nice lady said, you are listening to the official podcast of PHP Architect magazine. This is episode 2025.03.13. And I'm one of your hosts, Eric Van Johnson, and with me is John Congdon.
Whose idea was the whole Semver versioning of our episodes?
I hate it, man. I'm going to find that person. I'm going to kick their ass. This podcast focuses on all things PHP and web development, and occasionally we inappropriately touch on the PHP community and our general life as developers. Of course, we also talk about our company, PHP Architect, the magazine, and our wonderful upcoming and very exciting conference. We record every week on Thursday around 3 p.m. Pacific time. This podcast is made a little better thanks to our partners over at Honey Badger. Honey Badger helps you deploy with confidence and be your team's DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and performance monitoring in one simple package. It's free to get started, and setup takes just a few minutes. Be the hero your team needs. Suit up at honeybadger.io. We'll talk more about Honey Badger a little later. If you don't watch the live stream, if you're one of those audio podcast listeners, who listens to audio podcasts anymore? Seriously. We really encourage you to join the live stream, because when you're part of the live stream, you're part of our community, and you can be part of us in Discord and contribute to the actual show. Plus, the Discord channel is around all week long. Some fantastic people in there, some wonderful conversations happening. So go join our Discord at discord.phparch.com. That's discord.phparch.com, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/phparch.
I've got the solar surge just kind of like bouncing in and out as you keep talking. Like, poop, poop,
I know. I mixed up a little bit. Okay, that's it. I think that's everything. I got everything. I'm going to say I got everything. How's it going, John?
It's going. I'm not going to... Oh, where'd that come from? Oh.
Don't... What? Take it down.
Sorry. We'll leave that out of there for now.
Oh, you took that down quick. I was joking, man, but okay. No, conference is going well, man. Some very exciting stuff.
I know. I can't talk about it yet, though, unfortunately.
I hate that, man. I hate that so much.
It's not a secret. We're trying to find sponsors, and we
found some.
We're in talks with a few right now, which is exciting for us because it means we can keep doing this.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, but we got to wait till, I's are crossed and T's are dotted. Yeah. I know I said that backwards. I did it on purpose.
And bills are paid. It's always good. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited. We've had some great conversations the past week. Like, something about the past week is just, we ended up on the call where John and I was like, okay, did you set this up? No, I thought you set it up. Well, I set it up. Who's talking to these people? How do they get our number? Hey, I want to thank everybody who who watched the live stream. Really appreciate it. It's fun because I have that little buffer going at the beginning of the show. I kind of picked that up back the PHP Ugly days when I realized that when we were blasting out that we were live streaming, like, it was taking people time to join. Like, they didn't realize we joined. So what I started doing back then, and what I continue to do, is I play that little buffer music until we see a certain amount of live viewers. And then we're like, okay, enough people have had enough time to join. Let's fire it up. And that time is like getting shorter and shorter. Matter of fact, today we had somebody in Discord saying, okay, are we going to do this? Let's go. Let's get the stream started. So really do appreciate that. That's a ton. That's very exciting. 7PHP is in the house. How are you doing, 7PHP? Well, I've heard from you recently on the socials. Appreciate hearing from you. Appreciate seeing you again, man. Oh man, so much fun.
68 days to go till tech. That's it.
Oh, that's it. That's terrifying.
Barely over 2 months.
Yeah.
So just if you have a ticket, make sure you book your room because those are filling up quick.
Rooms are going quickly. Yeah.
Our block is actually almost filled out. So.
Oh, did we get our latest numbers? Cool.
Yep.
That's good. That's good to see. I always like to know that the attendees are taking advantage of that discount. Well, you do get a discount and you do get breakfast, which is something we started last year and I felt was pretty successful. So
the year before we didn't realize they were charging for breakfast. They didn't have a continental. Yeah. And I go up and I just start serving myself and they're like, that's $20. I'm like, I'm just getting a bowl of oatmeal.
Yeah, it's like those strawberries are costing you $20. I don't care. I mean, I think I went and got a cup of coffee and somebody came over. Oh, we have to charge you for a breakfast. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go eat then. Sarah, how you doing, Sarah? Jeffrey, Joe, welcome everybody.
Yes,
had an exciting week with Joe. We're going to get into that a little bit. Before we get too far into it, I have a little mushy thing, but today, a few years ago, more than a few years ago, my wife and I started dating. Yeah, our senior year in high school. It was actually a Friday the 13th. It was March 13th, and it was a Friday, which has its own little luggage with it. But yeah, we started officially dating that day. That was we had gone out the day before. We were supposed to go out with some friends, and one thing led to another, and it really just ended up being the two of us out at dinner that day. But it wasn't like a date, right? We just happened to be the two people there. And then I had asked her to go to a midnight movie with me the next day. And I was a little excited, picked her up around 6:00, didn't really do the math of, oh, hey, I need an entertainer now for 6 hours. And being a high school, like if we were adults, that wouldn't have been a big problem, right? We'd just gone to a bar, had a few drinks. But as a high schooler, there's not too much to do. Fortunately, the mall was open, had a restaurant that was open kind of late and stuff. But yeah, and been together ever since, man. It's crazy. So shout out to my lovely wife, Rebecca. Been a fun time. I'm not going to say years because it's embarrassing. It's more years than John's been alive, I think. So that's hurtful.
It has not. I'm gonna fix this for you, by the way.
Okay,
Sarah, welcome. How are you doing?
Who did I miss?
Sarah.
I said Sarah. Sarah was one of the first ones they said.
I don't know. We have to rewind it and listen.
All right. How was your coding week, John?
My coding week. Oh my goodness. Okay. I mean, like normal, stressful. Everything goes to hell in a handbasket when things are released.
Yep.
I actually I did a lot of pair programming this past week, which was nice. And I did a lot of encryption stuff. And
fun.
I really didn't realize how far things have changed. Just if you don't do it all the time and you don't stay up on it, and then all of a sudden somebody starts throwing out acronyms at you, and you're like, "Can you please speak English? Like, what are you talking about?" So we're just going through a security audit and deciding to encrypt some things that weren't encrypted before. One thing I never considered encrypting was the one-time password tokens, that you give out for a Google Authenticator.
Mm-hmm.
I just had those in clear text in the database, never even considered it. And That task came through because we're going through this big PCI compliance, and
Yeah, what in the data? What do you mean the one-time auth? What are you storing those for?
the token, the
The
16,
token.
the 16 to
Oh, okay.
32
Gotcha.
byte token, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the token that you need to recalculate the 6-digit code to make sure they
Sure.
match.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So those just weren't encrypted. And talking to somebody that basically created the task and said, start encrypting them. And he's way into it because he's big math nerd, which is awesome, but learned a ton. And in the meantime, we're like, it's a pain in the butt, but we have in production 4 different production environments, the same code, the same database structure, everything goes to the 4 different environments. And we're like, well, why don't we have a different database encryption key per environment?
Makes sense.
Because they're separate databases, they can be encrypted separately. Yeah, that is all good and dandy until the first issue, which was in the first issue in the deployment. For some reason, we do the migrations and then we're still using this really legacy database ORM,
Mm-hmm.
and it reads from the database structure and then builds classes for you. For some reason, I don't know how it missed that step. So as people were logging in and trying to use 2FA, it just broke because it was erasing the old key, but couldn't write the new one because it didn't know about the new field. Because I moved it from a text field to a binary field.
Mm-hmm.
So update that to nothing, but also don't update that because you don't know the field exists. Not a big deal. We literally just hit deploy again, had to wait 5 minutes, and it worked fine the second time.
Mm-hmm.
The next issue was this morning where they're trying to log into the 4th environment, and you could put the code in all day long and it just didn't work. I'm like, what in the hell? Why? So I get in there, I start debugging it. There's 3 environments in one AWS account, and then one of them is in a separate account. I never added a database key to that env file.
Oh,
it took me well, from the time I got the report and then have a meeting in the middle of that and couldn't focus on it. It took me over 2 hours to fix it, but in literally like trying to figure out what the heck was going on because it made no sense to me. It probably took me an actual 30 minutes of live debugging, trying to figure out what is going on here. This doesn't make oh my God. Don't have a key here.
I'm guilty of that. Especially when I do like work locally and I'll deploy and I'll forget, oh yeah, that's right. I created a new .env entry for this or that, and I have to put that out there. That's why that's not working. Yeah, that gets me all the time.
I did another thing that I had asked you to do a couple months ago. I'm going to call you out just like that.
Jesus Christ, man. Go ahead. What did I forget to do a couple months ago?
I don't do Laravel, so I said, hey, can you set it up where an email goes out on account creation?
Oh, shit. You did ask me to do that, didn't you?
I was up late last night.
You know what's funny about that before you get too far down there? I some time ago, I had written a artisan command on phptech.tv that watched for new blog posts, both at phparch.com and phptech.tv. And it was sending a post to a bot on Telegram that anybody can subscribe to. So if you're interested, Telegram, if you're a Telegram person, it's PHP Arch. There's a bot out there that just kind of posts whenever we do new blog posts. And I'm like, you know what? Why am I just posting this to Telegram? I should start posting it to the social networks. So last night I'm on there and I'm working with Bluesky because Bluesky is kind of the one I'm liking now. So I'm doing the coding for Bluesky. I'm doing some testing. I'm not happy with it because it doesn't do the image preview, but I have it working where it will post the link. and the title of the blog post. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I feel like I was supposed to do something else like this. Like, I feel like I was supposed to email something. Ah, forget it. I'll work on Mastodon next. I totally forgot you'd asked me to do that. Damn it. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I mean, I learned a little bit because I've never done mailing with Laravel before, and it was
Pretty easy, right?
pretty easy.
Pretty simple, yeah.
I'm now trying to work on the order creation because now our subscriptions are coming in through Stripe webhooks versus to the website. So I'm trying to recreate that, and it just got too late last night, so I just stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of hit a little bit of a speed bump with rewriting the PHP Architect site because I'd gotten happy with the layout, and now I need to kind of start figuring out the database and figuring out how we're going to migrate stuff over. I need to get back on that. I'm going to have some time this weekend, I think, and maybe that's what I'll look to knock out this weekend. I really like to get the new site up for tech. So we'll see how that goes. I doubt if I'll make that timeline, but
we should get together and basically come up with the features that we need and work together on it.
Yeah, we should.
Jeffrey only put in 30-minute talks for tech. This year we decided not to do the 30-minute talks. No real specific reason other than that lunchtime of almost 2 hours seemed a little long. I think it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like near the end, people were like, all right, what's going on here? So decided to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's not to say they won't come back. But yeah, for now, we're still kind of tweaking the schedule a little bit. We still want to keep the tutorial sessions going on the first day. And so we held on to those, which was really kind of defining the rest of the things being 1 hour. And to be quite honest with you, if you do the math, I mean, for us on our end, we just have to pay for that many more speakers with 30-minute talks. Not that it's a big problem, but it definitely doesn't help its argument of why it's good. Because I know people like the 30-minute talks because they're very, very concise and to the point and boom, 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 and let's move on. But yeah, we're just tweaking it a little bit. It might come back again next year. We'll see. I had scale last week. So last Friday I went to scale. I was telling John, it just blows me away as being somebody who's been a fan of open source for a very long time. It blows me away. The size and scope of scale now and the range of things that they talk about is just absolutely amazing. I think, like I was sharing with John, I think next year John and I had done this community table at scale one year where they had a table for all PHP user groups, and we all kind of said, okay, we'll man the table this day, and somebody else did another day. So we actually that's where one of the places we met Kaylin at, who now works for us. Works with us and has worked with us for a very long time. But so I'm thinking about doing a table, PHP table. I don't know if I'm doing a PHP table or try to maybe do a PHP X table, like the new user group for the PHP. But I feel bad doing that, seeing how we actually haven't had our PHP X meetings yet. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to do something next year.
Haven't been able to get traction with it as far as sending out emails and not getting many responses or finding a place to host. Yeah,
it's super tough. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that.
But you brought up, we met Kaylin, who's now our longest lasting employee, or
longest lasting. He hasn't given up on us yet.
He's been with us the longest at this point, and we've met other employees that we have now through conferences. So come to PHP Tech. Maybe find your next gig.
Look at you bringing it back around to tech. Very good. As a matter of fact, not giving out not spoiling any names or anything, but one of the potential sponsors that we spoke to had very specific questions about hiring people and finding talent at tech. And we're
Couple of
like, yeah, a couple have. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's a thing. Matter of fact, John and I were kind of ping-ponging around an idea around that, which we really don't have time for this year, but maybe next year we'll do, which kind of puts a little bit more focus on that for potential sponsors to come out. You know, give them reason to come out. But yeah, I know I know I have helped people find positions who attended tech. I've helped people find people who attended tech. So yeah, it's very common for that to happen. So yeah, if you're looking in the hunt for a job, or if you're in the hunt for talent, tech is the place to go, man. What are you writing down?
got an idea.
Oh dear.
I mean, it's nothing new. You know, we have those stickers that people can put on their badges, pronouns basically. But we should create open to work stickers.
Oh, good one. Or looking to hire. Yep. Open to work or looking to hire. Yeah. That's a great idea. We should try it. We can do that this year. We got time for that.
Yep.
All right. Let's hear a little bit from Honey Badger, and we'll continue.
When your app breaks in production, you want to quickly understand and fix it, not sift through logs for the next hour. That's where Honey Badger comes in. Honey Badger notifies you of errors, outages, and performance issues as they occur and helps you respond instantly when your systems go down. When you need to dig deeper, Honey Badger's advanced query engine helps you reach into your logs and grab just the information you need. With error tracking, performance and uptime monitoring, log management, and support for over 10 languages, Honey Badger is the best tool to gain real-time insights into your application's health and performance. Best of all, it's free to get started, and setup takes less than 5 minutes. Be sure to bookmark honeybadger.io. That's www.honeybadger.io.
Thank you, Honey Badger.
Thank you, Honey Badger.
Yeah, so I mentioned, you know, I gotta say, I am spending less time coding.
Less time.
Yeah, coding client work than ever before. And with the introduction of Joe and him basically trying to catch up and standardize and take care of a lot of lingering things in our different environments that we've been trying to take care of for a while, I really have discovered I'm spending a lot more time managing stuff, which isn't terrible. Like I'm torn on it, right? Because I like coding and I still code. Like I said, I'm coding the new website. So I still do that kind of after hours, whatever that means, and less client work. And I didn't think I wanted to do that. Like, I didn't think I wanted to do as much management as I did. And I probably unfairly put more of it on the shoulders of the team than I should have, but they handled it well. But I feel like we're getting so much accomplished now. Like, it's crazy how much progress I feel like we're making. We just got a big deployment done last week that had been lingering around for a long. Actually, got deployed on Monday, and the client was like, "Wait a minute, what happened here?" Where we upgraded to Laravel 11, PHP 8.2 or 3, and there was something else in there, but just so many things we're taking care of now. It feels good. Like, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but like I feel like we're becoming more and more of a real company, like not just like a bunch of developers who get together and like to develop, which is great. But it just feels like I don't know, man. I don't know how to explain it. I've been so jazzed with the progress we've been making and the things we've been working on, and just things coming back around of, okay, we can take care of this now, and take care of this now, take care of this now. It's just been fantastic, man. I am so happy with everything the team's doing, all the progress we're making. It's been great.
I mean, we've been trying to tell the client that for years. Like we were just like we were being constricted. We are trying to ask the developers to do too much,
Mm-hmm.
and you just can't make a lot of progress on that. So hiring Joe, like you said, took that off of you and Kaylin, which allows you guys to do what you do better. And I agree with the management part. It's a big piece, and we've always, I mean, what are we, 13 years into this now?
Yeah.
And we've often been such a small company. It's like everyone's self-manage and kind of report back what you're doing. Send us an
Yeah.
email or you lose your job, that type of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's great, man. We just need now it's like okay, now how do we get to the next level? Like, what's the next level now? Whereas before I didn't really want, I was like, we got too much going on here. I don't even want to think about it. Now I'm kind of getting there. I'm like, all right, we got to do something.
Yeah.
Nothing until after tech though. Jeez, man, tech is coming up quick.
Yep.
Quick.
Definitely.
We're making some changes to the schedule a little bit. That's good news, bad news, depending on who you are. I hate getting those messages in Discord. I got good news, I got bad news. I'm like, fuck off, dude. Don't start with it.
And the good news is not about tech, which
Not about tech. Yeah, which the bad news is going to be about tech. So, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
so we had a speaker back out on us. But they were nice enough to find us a backup, yeah.
Yeah, to their credit, they went out and they took the initiative of finding somebody to take their spot. So it's not that they're taking their spot. I guess they are taking their spot, but yeah, it's
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We gotta make those changes. You'll see that. Besides that, yeah, that's pretty much been my life lately. Yeah, I took the EV. So I mentioned I bought a fully electric car, and I took it to LA for scale, and it was like the first kind of big road trip. Not that it's that far, but like I'm not super familiar with LAO and where I currently live. Like I'm very familiar. I know where things are. If I get in a pinch, I know I can go, this road or that road. LA, I'm not like that. Like LA, if my NavView doesn't tell me, I'm pretty, I'm just driving around aimlessly. So I took the EV there, and it did fantastic. Like I had already calculated all the miles and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I should be able to make it. I should be able to make it back, and da da da. And yeah, it did fantastic. So I'm really liking the EV way more than I thought I would.
So do you have to do all the calculations like you said, or do you just put it in and it tells you?
So there's I know all electric vehicles have different software. So I think, like, for example, Tesla will do it. But for the Volkswagen, yeah, you kind of have to be cognitive of the distance and the miles on your car. Now, I did install an app that everybody raves about, which does it for me. So not only does I forget what it's called. I should look it up because it really is worth looking up. I haven't depended on it yet because I'm very picky about my maps. My big thing with maps is how fast it will reroute me in traffic, because traffic is a big thing around here. And so, when I get comfortable with a map solution, I really don't like messing with it. ABRP is what it's called.
Sarah just posted that.
Nice, Sarah. Better, yeah. So the cool thing about this, and I haven't seen this in practice, maybe Sarah knows something about it, but it it's tied into my car. So I have to pair it with my vehicle, and it watches my vehicle and battery consumption as I'm driving, and then if I put my navigation in through it, it's calculating everything and says, okay, you say you want to when you get home, you want to make sure you have at least 20% of battery. So you're not going to make that 20% mark, but there's this charge station on your way home. If you charge there for 20 minutes, you'll get home and have your 20% or something like that. So it does do a lot of that kind of intelligence for you. I need to get comfortable with it as my map thing, but I have two different maps apps I use. I've been using Apple Map because Google Map crashes for some reason on CarPlay on my truck. I don't think I've tried it with the Volkswagen, but I started using Apple Map for my local driving, for it to reroute me. And then I still use Waze for like when I'm going to, if I'm on the freeway for more than like 15-20 minutes, it's Waze, because I'm hauling ass and Waze still does the best job at telling me where the cops are. Like it tells you, it shows you, it says, are they still there? Hey man, are they still there?
Apple Maps does that too,
but it doesn't show you. At least mine doesn't show me.
Yeah,
I must have a setting wrong.
No, I don't. It should just be there where it's like it has it on there and it's doing the same thing, asking, "Hey," and it's doing it with car like accidents or stalled vehicles.
Yeah.
Is it still there? But I mean, it shows you as far as like a little pointer.
Yeah, I've never seen it for the police because Google Maps does the same thing. Google Maps will say, speed trap reported ahead, but it doesn't show you where on the map it is. It just says, "Hey, you're coming up on a speed trap." Whereas Waze does. I'm like, cool, man. So I'm still getting there, but I think I'm going to try that ABRP the next time I take a long trip.
Yeah, I heard a lot of electric vehicle talk because I went to spring training last weekend, and the family that I went with, they have a Tesla, and then another family that that was out there at the same time that I'm friends with here as well. They have the Rivian, so two different ones, and then they're just geeking out about all the electric vehicle stuff.
And good one,
yeah. And the software of, I said I wanted to make it here at 10%, so I had to stop here and charge for 30 minutes. And I was like,
yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And there's a lot of trip planners with these EV solutions where you can plan out your trips. Because I've already done it for, have the kid that lives up in San Francisco, and I really want to drive it up to San Francisco, but it's like that's where things get hard, man. Because the cool thing about the Volkswagen is it does do fast charging. So when I came back from LA, I stopped at a fast charger just because I wanted to get the experience. So I was actually doing great on I had plenty of miles to get home, but I wanted to see how long the fast charge worked. So I was down to like a 40% battery. And keep in mind, typically you only charge to about 80%, right? You can charge it to 100% if you know you're driving for a long distance, but to make your battery last, you only charge to 80. So I might have only been charged to 80 when I left, and I was almost on my way home when I was at like 40%. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and stop and charge and see how long it takes. And I went to one of those fast chargers, and it's definitely not as fast as a gas pump, right? So the gas pump is still quick, but it only took like 15 minutes for it to charge 40%. So and I think that was about 100 miles or something. It must have been about 100 miles it gave me. So it charges really fast. I mean, definitely fast enough, but to go to San Francisco, I would need to stop like 3 times, and each time would be like a full charge of about 30 minutes, and that's if I find a fast charger. Like there's all these like contingencies on the conversation.
Right.
Like, oh, the charger has to work. It has to be a fast charger. Then it should only take about 30 minutes
And
to charge.
it has to be available when you get there. Otherwise, you
Yeah,
gotta
it has to
wait
be.
for it.
Yeah, it has to be open. It's yeah. So it's like I'm not to that comfort level, but I think the infrastructure is getting there more and more. Where we're not there today. I mean, I still would consider if an EV was your primary vehicle, I would still consider you an early adopter. Basically, is what I'm saying. But it's much more doable. But I love it, man. Like every morning, I leave the house with a full tank of gas because I have the solar, I have the batteries. Plug it in, charges 100. So here at the house to charge, like from I did the last time I went down to San Diego. I got up, I was here at 10%, and it took it to charge 80%. It took 6 hours. So I get, I think it was what 20 miles an hour, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, but it's cool. Like every morning, you have a full tank of gas. I'm talking way too much about EVs. I noticed. Sorry about that.
Question for you. Last week we left off where I had a couple of things on my Trello board, and you were going to read them before the show. Did you? Nope. Okay.
If I say yes, would you believe me?
No.
No, I did not.
They were just things I saw that I added to Trello a while ago and finally read. This first one is prevent buffer overflow in Laravel.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I read it, and it's like anything else. It's like filter or sanitize your input, blah, blah, blah. So there was nothing here. They're selling a pen test product, basically. They want you to sign up. Yeah, if you allow someone to send you 10 megs or 10,000 characters, it may cause an issue. And the whole thing is Laravel has this handy little input validation. Only take the first 255 characters.
Yeah.
So mostly a reminder, validate your input, make sure you're getting the right type of input. The other one was on images. Make sure you have a file size on images and maybe your MIME type. And there was one other one in there. I forgot what that one was. File uploads. And this one killed me. Example 3, if you want to bring that back up.
Yeah, sure.
Buffer overflow via serialized data.
That's the one I was just looking at.
Right. And it's, instead of using unserialized, use JSON decode. They're not the same thing.
Am I missing something? Why would they even recommend that? Avoid unserialized on user input. Use JSON decoding.
Right. It makes no sense as far as this goes, other than if you're not careful with unserialization, if you just unserialize user input, that would be really bad. Now, there's ways to mitigate that by saying, I will only unserialize these specific classes, making it a little more safe. But still, you're trusting user input when you do that. But still, unserialize and JSON decode are not the same thing. Granted, you could serialize your data into JSON and then use that to build objects that you're going to unserialize or arrays or whatever. But unserialize is not just about arrays. So it doesn't always work.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like Sarah says, they're not the same thing, but unserialized is too powerful. I concur. And that brings up the other one that was on my list.
Yeah, this was one that I kept meaning to read, actually. Avoid this Laravel Enum trap.
So this is not just the Laravel Enum trap.
Okay.
Again, they want you to click on it, so they're going to put Laravel in the title. This is storing data. Be careful of storing data in your database that you assume will be available down the road. So with enums, it's very easy to say, I want to store this enum, and then a year later you change your code and you're like, oh, this state is no longer valid, or this enum value is no longer valid, but now it's in your database.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden someone goes and pulls that data, they try to make an enum from it, and it fails.
Okay.
I deal with this a lot, not with enums per se, but I like to very quickly serialize an object and throw it in the database sometimes. And I get yelled at for that quite often because you're assuming that that class isn't going to change. You go and unserialize it and you expect it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the times I do that, it's like I have no intention of necessarily unserializing it. I'm storing the data and I'm just trying to be super quick with it. And if it breaks, it breaks. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same thing. Be careful what you store, knowing that sometime down the road you're going to try to recreate that object, that enum, that whatever, and it may not work for you.
I mean, I'm glad you made that clear, because first thing when I saw the title, I'm like, what enum specific behavior does Laravel have that's not just a PHP enum behavior?
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing. So that was good to hear. But then to your point of what they're saying, like, this isn't an enum problem. This is a coding architectural issue that we address all the time, whether it's an enum, a state, as you mentioned earlier. It's like whenever you make an assumption of these are going to be, this one column is going to represent, these things may always change. So yeah, that's I had that happen to me. Oh, that's what it was. Who was that with? I was working on something where initially the client, I'll call him client for now, was storing the state by the state name, and then they decided, oh no, we just want the abbreviation now. It's like, okay, but you have like 6 years of state names in your database now, so just giving it an abbreviation is, now we got to code for two things. Yeah, it always happens.
Yep.
That's fun. It's a fun thing about coding. Did you know Skype was dying, was dead, was
I
going away?
saw that recently. I don't know when the sunset date is, but I did see that was coming to an end.
It's coming up quickly, and I feel like this is Microsoft's play of just trying to force push people into Teams. Which, by the way, I got on a Teams meeting today. Freaking hate that goddamn platform, man. I hate it. I couldn't get my mics to work. I couldn't get my camera to work, and it didn't help that I was like a couple of minutes late, and they had already started the meeting, which was my day all day. I was like 5 minutes late to everything today. But yeah, I feel it's weird too, because Skype has like been around for a while.
So our smallest client that that we've had forever still uses Skype. That's their main form of communication. So anytime I want to communicate with them, I have to fire up Skype, and I'm like, why? So usually I just send emails. I very rarely have Skype open.
Yeah, me too. I used to like, and this is the other thing. Like, the only thing I use Skype for is I would use it to have another phone number, where either I want to call out or have people call me on. I don't know if Teams allows that. I don't think that's I could be wrong. I don't use Teams, but I don't know if that's a feature in Teams where if I'm just using it like it was Skype, like I'm a Skype user that needs to move over. I don't know if that's even a feature anymore.
No, you just use another service like Open Phone.
Yeah, you got me on that one as well. Matter of fact, I think I even have a number there. I haven't even tried using yet. So, oh yeah, Skype going bye-bye if you're one of the spammers that still use Skype.
I was actually on with my insurance company, and I used Open Phone to call them just to be on my computer, make it easy. And they're like, "Is blah 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 a good callback number?" I'm like, That's not my normal. Yeah, that's fine. I don't feel like explaining it right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's good enough.
Yeah. So, man, so it's difficult, right? Like we work on the magazine, we see articles, we see like talks, and we see columns, and I saw one today, like I need to talk about this. Like I need to make sure people know about this, just because it's kind of a quirky thing. But it tells you it is kind of shows you how significant Laravel has become, recognized as a framework, just not a PHP framework, but as a framework in general. I've seen, oh man, I forget what it was called, but there was a JavaScript framework that patterned itself after Laravel. Basically, the whole MVC, the way it did routes and all that. And, being, a PHP first Laravel person, um, I'm always interested in these things. And somebody pointed out to me today, I don't even know how to pronounce this correctly. Ravel,
Go. Wasn't it Go Ravel?
Go Ravel. Is that how you call it?
Yeah.
Go Ravel. Yeah, I guess that makes most sense. Go Ravel. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Oh,
There is a
I see. Goravel, like Laravel, but it's for Go.
Goravel.
Laravel.
Goravel. Yes. So yes, there is a Laravel inspired Go framework now, which I just found out about this today. It will be coming in an article in a future PHP Architect. So get your subscription today if you don't have one. But this looks horrifying. I mean, it's just it's like they're trying to the person who wrote the article is like, yeah, no, they're basically just shoehorning this pattern into Go, and it really shouldn't be there. Yeah, this is fun. If you're a PHP person or you wanted to play with Go or something, I would love your input on this. I had my little Go time for a while, and I liked it okay. I just didn't have enough. I always run into this issue with learning new languages, which I'm doing a lot less of lately. But like I'll learn something and I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool, this is beneficial, I like this, I like this. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, but I can still do all that in PHP. Like, why am I worried about switching to another language? I have all that functionality already. So I like to do it because I like to see how other languages are solving problems, like have a different view of things. But end of day, like am not I'm just not motivated to move away from PHP. I'm trying to force myself into learning a good, being proficient enough at JavaScript where I say I develop JavaScript stuff. And that's just because JavaScript is across the platform. Like, I don't care what language you work on. If it's web-based, there's going to be a JavaScript element to it. It's just the way it is. So I've kind of resigned to that. And that's one of my kind of goals this year is to really get my head around. I'm kind of focused on React right now. Like, I think that's what I settled on. But
is that what we're using in the mobile app?
No, that's Ansible. We can use React, but
that's not Ansible.
Not Ansible. What's the other A one? Help me.
Angular.
Help me. Angular. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's Angular, which is the default one. But it does have React and Vue.js plugins that you can use. I don't know if they're called plugins. It does have React and Vue versions that you can use, but we've been using the Ionic framework for a long time, and it was Angular back then, and so that's just what our apps are right now. It's Angular. But our mobile guy, Brooks, he's very familiar with React. So as well as I think Frank is as well. So
is he teaching you Is he giving you lessons?
No. I definitely have to. I gotta keep the persona of I know more than you do anywhere.
No,
So
you don't.
So that's what I do. I just do that. Act like I know until I actually figure it out.
That's terrible advice. Do not give that advice to anyone. It's always important to have people better than you around. Even if I go and hide in a corner.
I always say I am the dumbest person at our company, and I hope it stays that way because I like being the weak link. I'm fine with that. Oh. Don't disagree with me, John. No, not now. No, that's where I'm going.
Don't worry. I won't.
Asshole.
I've been into 3D printing lately.
Oh, I'm so envious. You got a new toy?
And I watched this video this morning. Now I really want to build a 10-inch server rack. Little mini server rack.
I had one of those for my pies.
Oh yeah?
Oh dude, it was awesome, man.
Well,
yeah.
So I just shared a video. This guy fully 3D printed one. Like the whole rack is 3D printed. The only thing you need to supply are the cage nuts and screws for it. And I'm like, I got a lot of equipment sitting up on top of this stupid bookshelf here. It'd be nice to have it look somewhat decent because it's just like everything's piled up on top of each other and cables running everywhere.
Yeah.
So now I want a nifty new toy.
Okay, tell me my camera's still good because my camera is freaking out.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
If I do this, well, one, of course, like all the other people that design new things, it's like it'll be free eventually, but right now it's only for my my Patreons and
I'm noticing more and more of that. Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense. Give stuff to the people that are supporting you.
Yeah, I guess.
But they also were showing off a commercial one that you can buy, so it's all metal. And it's like you can either have this one for $150, or you can print your own. Take over 3 days to print it, and cost like $60, like half the price.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more customized. Kind of cool.
And you feel like you accomplished something.
Yeah, it just means I got to buy a whole new, a different filament. I've not used ASA yet.
Yeah, I don't think I've used ASA. But you still no buyer's remorse yet. How you still feeling good about the printer?
Yeah, I've been printing a ton of these little drawers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just had a spaghetti mess of cables, so now I've got these little drawers. I'm like, these are my DVI, these are my USB-C, these are my HDMI. Like, just cram a bunch in there, and like I'm so sick of going into this spaghetti mess trying to find a friggin' cable.
Yeah, I know that feeling. What was it going? Oh yeah, so the bamboo, right? That's what you got, the bamboo. Mm-hmm. So that came fully assembled, or
pretty much.
Oh, cool. Very envious. Yeah, cool, man.
But I'm not promoting it. I mean, Sarah's looking to get a Prusa. Hear good things about them. We're so far from the days of build your own printer and then print things to make your printer better.
Yeah. Yep. That's what Tom did back in the day. Didn't he build his 3D printer or something? Or
all of them, like the one you have, it came in a bunch of parts and had to be put together.
Yeah, but it was all like together. Like it was meant to go together.
Yeah, but so back in the day, you'd buy a small printer and then you would print parts to make your printer even better. You'd buy the base model and put on all the extras.
Print everything else out. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's gonna be it for this week. If you are listening, actually, let me. If you're still with us,
sorry,
your dog's not barking. If you're ever interested in writing for us, we love to have new contributors all the time. Very easy to do. Uh, you just reach out to us. You give us your topic idea. You give us kind of a soft date of when you think you'd have it in, and we don't hold you to that. We're very flexible. Like I say, the only reason we ask for a date of when you think you can have it to us is so that we can start to queue up our pipeline and say, okay, by February, or we should have this article, or by December we have this article. But it's always easy to move stuff around. But yeah, think about writing for us. And if you're not subscribed, obviously subscribe. Uh, I always felt this way before we owned the company. Feel this way even more so now. But it's just a great resource to have. Such a wide range of articles from so many people within the community. We have our regular contributors who pump out the great columns month after month, but we reserve 2 columns. We call them our feature columns, or feature articles, for anybody to contribute to. So do it. A lot of people have done it. A Woods has contributed a few. He's in our Discord. You can ask him.
And he's still there, so we didn't drive him away.
Yeah. It's fun. It's if you feel like you've accomplished something. It's one of those weird things, like we say with user talks, whatever it might be. You don't think you have a lot to talk about, or you don't think you have a lot to share, but if you've figured something out, chances are there's hundreds of other people out there that are having the same problem, or would be interested in something new that you learned, or it's just a cool way to share. And yeah, we appreciate you. So yeah, think about that. PHP Arch, just email us, write WRITE at phparch.com, and we'll send you everything you need to know. But we have a link on here, right for the magazine, somewhere right here, right for us. This is one of the things I'm looking forward to upgrading, but updating. But yeah, this gives you all the guidelines. You do it in Markdown. We explain it all to you, and we help you. We don't trust me. We don't want you to look bad.
That's outdated.
Huh?
Now you don't even have to do
Yeah.
Markdown. You just do it in Notion. You're good to go.
Yeah, that's true. Notion, yeah, Notion works. But I mean, and it's important for everybody to know that we don't want you to look bad. We proofread it. If we have any questions, we reach out to you. But unless it's something really big, like something that looks really wrong, we typically try not to even bother you. We'll do small things like grammar corrections and stuff without even reaching out to you. So yeah, give us a call. Let us know. And get your tickets to Tech. Prices go up. I'm just going to keep saying that until we decide to raise the prices again.
It worked when you told me to take this down, right? So maybe saying prices go up, they'll actually go up.
Yeah, the discount code. So if you're listening to the audio version, you got to go watch the video. There is a discount code for.
And the URL is still way too long. I don't know why I made it that long.
Yeah, that is a little. That's a little. You're gonna cut out a word or two there. Yeah. All right. We should have one code that, like, our listeners know they can use every year. Like, it's always the same code every year. That would be fun. But that needs to become a Patreon supporter, and we'll share that with you. We don't have Patreon, so you can't.
No, we do not.
All right, John. You got anything else to talk about?
I'm gonna do it this way. That doesn't work anymore. Gotta do this. Sorry. Doing it live. What
are we doing?
Do it this way. And then do that. There. Now it's a QR code in the upper left of your screen.
Oh, cool. That's helpful. That'll help the audio listeners out.
Yeah, audio listeners, pull your camera out right now and point it at your radio or your phone.
Your radio.
They're listening in their car radio. Come on.
Jeez.
Point at your phone.
If you can write a blog post, you can write a magazine art. There you go. That's the spirit. Camen? I don't know how to pronounce it. Comendes. Thank you, John. Thank you for your help on that. Sarah's got it. Sarah's got the secret cheat code.
Yep. That's Caesar. Caesar Mendez.
Oh, Caesar. Sorry, yep. I was looking at a Restream does, I guess, the handle. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Caesar. How you doing, man? All right, that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. I don't care what John says, John.
I gotta go, Bull.
All right. Talk to you guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been PHP Podcast, the official podcast of PHP Architect, the industry's leading tech magazine and publisher, focused on PHP and web development. Subscribe today at phparch.com to see what the leaders in the community and industry are talking about.